All right, good morning. Welcome to the Office Integration with Dynamics AX 2012 webinar. My name is Matt Grisham. I'm a consultant on the AX team here at IBIS. Just for your knowledge, you are muted. If you have any questions, hold them to the end and we'll have a short Q&A at the end of the presentation. All right, so let's get started. Today we're going to talk about the Office add-in tools with AX 2012. And really we're just going to not use PowerPoint too much today. We're just going to go through three demos of using the Office add-in tools, and we'll cover exporting data from within AX out to an Excel spreadsheet, and then we'll look at using Excel and getting data from AX directly from within Excel. And then we'll look at publishing data from Excel back to AX, and then finally we'll cover how you can create and use document templates using Microsoft Word. So let's get started. All right, so our first scenario today is about a guy named Kevin. He's a sales manager with Contoso Entertainment. And he has a sales meeting in a few minutes, and he hasn't prepared anything for the meeting, presumably because he's playing golf or taking 2-hour lunches or something like that. So if we go into the sales and marketing module and then take a look at the all opportunities list, we'll have a view of all these opportunities coming up that Kevin is responsible for. And he needs to take this data and turn it into some kind of presentable chart, graph in Excel to present to his managers so he doesn't get in trouble for slacking off. So he opens up the opportunities form. You'll see that you have a list of the name of the opportunity, what kind of products are associated with the opportunity, a prognosis, a time frame of when the deal can get done, probability, and the status of the opportunity. So Kevin opens up this form and he clicks on the Export to Excel button. And he waits a minute and he'll have an Excel spreadsheet open up that has all the same information that we saw in the opportunities screen. But it doesn't quite give him all the information he needs. So he needs to add some more data to the spreadsheet to get a better idea of maybe how much money you can expect to get from these deals. So he clicks on the Dynamics AX tab, which is a new tab that when you install the Office add-ins with AX 2012, it gets added to Excel. And then he'll select the field chooser because he wants to add some more fields. And when you click on the field chooser, you get this list of fields to choose from, hence the name. And all these fields are associated with that opportunities table that he was seeing in AX. So like I said, we wanted to take a look at estimated revenue. So I'll select it here, and you can either add insert as column, or I can just drag it into the spreadsheet and drop it where I want it to appear. You can also create your own fields to be used with this data by just simply typing in a new column header. So estimated revenue, that's just the total revenue for the opportunity. If you wanted to look at a more reasonable estimate of how much money you should expect, we could create a column called probable revenue and then enter a formula that multiplies the estimated revenue by the probability of win, and then since that's really should be a percentage, we'll divide by 100. And then that formula fills in through the whole column that we've selected. We also want to just filter this data down to just active opportunities, not ones that we've already won and not ones that we've lost or have been canceled. So we'll do that by adding a filter to the data where we add a condition based on that status field for just those that are active, and click OK. And then when I go in and refresh my data, you can see that you just have active opportunities available. You've got your estimated revenues filled in now, and you've also got the calculated value for probable revenue. And then this column isn't formatted right, so I'll change that over to currency, apply it to the whole column. Maybe I want to make this look neat for my bosses, so I'll add some conditional formatting so I can get a scale of which jobs are the biggest, which ones need to be focused on the most. You can also use pivot charts in Excel off this data by selecting pivot chart from the Insert tab and selecting this whole table. And then I can create a pivot table looking at the prognosis of the job and the probability, the prognosis, and my probable revenue. And that gives me a nice neat little chart which is easy to digest and understand for your sales manager when they ask Kevin, you know, where are we at, how much money can we expect, and when can we expect it. And that just took 5 minutes, so if your meeting was in 5 minutes, Kevin's in good shape. If he had waited longer than that, he'd be in bad shape, but probably within an understandable time period. Alright, so that's the first look at just exporting data from AX into Excel. Our next example, I want to take a look at importing directly data from AX into Excel from within Excel. And this one we're going to talk about budgets. So if I go to budget and the budget module and open up the budget registry entries form, you'll see what kind of information we're looking at. These entries are entered and they have a certain value associated with them. And now I want to get those in AX. So I'll click on the Dynamics AX tab and then click Add Data. And then here we're presented with a few different data sources we can use. And here we'll take a little aside from the demo and kind of look at the more technical side of what's going on here. If I go to Organization Administration module, and under Setup, Document Management, Document Data Sources, you can see this list that I have set up here matches the list that I have in Excel. And we have two different data sources that we can use in Excel. We can have either a service or a query. A query is the same as a query in the AOT, where it just pulls in table data, but it doesn't let us publish data back, which is what a service lets us do. So for instance, this budget transaction service, if I look under classes, budget transaction service, you'll see that this class extends the AIF document service, which is the Application Integration Framework class, which the Application Integration Framework is an interface that lets AX interface with other applications. Maybe you have some web ordering from a vendor. It can integrate through AIF to work from AX and load up to their website. So that's a hint at why the service lets you publish data from Excel back into AX. Okay, so that's enough technical stuff. We're looking at the budget register entries You'll see it's a service, not a query. Click OK. We'll let it load up, and you'll see that the field chooser opens up, and I've got a list of fields associated with the budget register entries. So I'm going to pull in the entry number, which also adds in the ledger name since they're associated as keys columns. I'm going to add in the budget code, and then under the actual account entries, I want to pull in date, the ledger main account number, the comment column, and transaction currency amount. And I don't have to keep these names, I can give them more meaningful names for myself. So instead of this long ledger dimension main account works fine for me, and just amount works for transaction currency amount. And that doesn't affect what data those columns are actually associated with. I also just want to look at a certain set of budget models for the total budget model. And now if I close my field chooser and select refresh data, it goes and pulls in all those total budget model register entries in with their amounts and dates and codes and comments. So I can reformat this column again. That's a number. So now your budget manager, he has a good solid list to kind of work from if you needed to do any number crunching in Excel, which is probably a format you're more used to working in as an accountant rather than trying to work directly in AX. Okay, so the next part of the scenario looks at kind of grouping these budgets together in their different categories and seeing which budgets have what's the amount for the total budget for that category, and then what's the budget amount for the adjustment amount for those categories. So we kind of want to filter two different columns on two different filter criterias, and you can do that by adding what are called matrix fields to your field chooser list. And that's done by just selecting the table you want to add the matrix field to, selecting create matrix field, and then you get a dialog asking for the name of the new field and then which measure you want this filter to be added to. Okay, so I want to look at the original budget. Based on the transaction currency amount, where the budget code is just the budget. You can see that it's the original budget. Click OK. And then I need a second matrix field for my budget adjustments. Based on the transaction currency amount, where my budget code is bud adjust for bud adjustment. Click OK. So now I can add in original budget and my budget adjustment. And I can also add in the comment field, which are kind of my budget categories. And I'm going to create a new column called change, which is just going to be my percent change, which would equal my budget adjustment divided by the original budget. So if I close Field Chooser, refresh all, I get a list of my different budget categories, the original budget for that category, the adjustment amount, and if I format this as a percent, the percent change from the original budget to the budget adjustment. So if we look at this training and development comments, I happen to know that this budget register entry is number 536. Because if I mouse over this dimension value, you can see that the name of the account is training, so it's within that group of training and development. And you'll see that it's a budget adjustment type entry, and the entry's total an amount of $13.50, which matches this number here. So if the budgeting manager comes in here and he sees, oh, we don't need to adjust the budget that much, maybe we only need to adjust it $900. You can come in, change that number to 900, just press enter, go back to the Dynamics AX tab and select Publish Data. And you'll see that it will publish the data. It will say that it's publishing the service, and then you'll get a new sheet in your work that gives you the status of the publishing. And you can see one record was updated and it published successfully. So now if I go back into AX on that same entry and refresh the record, you can see that now instead of totaling $13.50, you now have a total of $900 in adjustments. So in previous versions of AX and almost all other ERP systems, there's kind of been a fight with people who do a lot of work in Excel. Like, it's always been, no, you should be doing your work in the ERP system. Now with AX 2012, they've kind of loosened up on the reins and said, yeah, work in Excel all you want, and now we'll give you tools to where you can work in Excel and then have that work published directly into AX without you having to go in and hand type it. Alright, now we're on to our final demo of the day, which deals with creating document templates in Word. So I have a Word document already set up, kind of template with what kind of verbiage I want to see on my quotes, my header, my logo, and then I can add fields just like I did in Excel by going to the Dynamics AX tab, selecting add data, and then selecting the sales quotation query. You'll notice that you only have the queries available in Word, you don't have the services, and that's because you can't publish data from Word back to AX. You can only publish data from Excel into AX. So if I were starting from scratch, I would have selected this and clicked OK, but that's already set up for me. You can mouse over these fields that I already have, and you'll see that they turn gray. When I click on them, they'll have the name of what field it's pulling in. So this quotation is pulling from this field here. And if I want to add maybe like an email to this quote, I can just come in, type out email, and then either drag and drop the fields into the document or just select insert as value. And now the email field is added to the template. I can also you can also use tables in Word rather than just values. So if you have, for instance, on a sales quote, you have all your header information, and then you have all your quotation lines that you would want to fill in this part of the document. And it's not necessarily going to be one line, and you don't have to guess how many lines are going to be on your sales quote in your template. You can just put one line, and when you insert it as a column instead of as a value, it knows to create new lines in your table. So I can insert a new column to the right of this. I'm going to say I probably want to include the requested ship date for the item in my table. So I give it the column header a name, click down in where I want the actual value to be, span my quotation lines, select requested ship date, and then insert as column, and it inserts in. And then I can save changes to my quote as I see fit, and then if I want to actually generate a document off of this quote, I can add a filter for a quotation number. I've selected this quotation number as an example. Click OK, and then merge the document. Sorry. Merge the document, and then it creates a whole new Microsoft Word document that's filled in for that filter that I had applied. So here, if I go into AX, sales and marketing, quotations, and look at this QA 66 quotation. You can see it's for the Colorado airport. If I open it up and look at the lines, you can see there's 4 line items: an hour, an item, a fee, and an expense, which I have here in my quote 4 lines for those 4 lines in the quote. And one thing to note with these Word document templates, if you are used to creating templates in Word, you usually have to save them as like a .docx type file. You actually don't do that because it creates a whole new document off of this .docx type file. Now I can also then add this document as a document source or a document type template in AX by saving that document to my enterprise portal site. So if I go to the organization administration module, setup, document management, document types, you'll see that I have like a list of templates from the Office add-in tool with a list of possible templates I can use and which table it's associated with and where these templates are stored out on the enterprise portal site. So if I click on this viewer button, it will open that document library for me, and I can click add document, browse to my document that I've saved, open it, and then save it to this site. But I've already done that. So now if I go back to the quotations page, select another quote, and I have a button under attachments called generate from template, and I can select which template I want to use from that list that we looked at just a second ago. So I could select standard quote, it'll think about it, and then it creates a document that I don't even have to save that document because it's already saved under the attachments for that record. You can see this is the one I just created at 8:26 Pacific time on today's date. And that's Word templates. So that's the end of the demos for today. Thanks for attending, everyone, and if you do have any questions in the future, just email info@IBIS Inc. and we'll get an answer out to you as soon as possible. Thanks.